Welcome, welcome, welcome. 8 o'clock on the dot, November 11th. It's a Wednesday. Red Rona's podcast. Men of Honor podcast. Y'all been put to the side tonight because the Twinning podcast is back. Barry's here, week 10, owner of Mr. Jones's Freak Shark. What's up, Barry? Good evening.
What's up, Dan? It's good to be back, man. Oh, it's good to be back on National Skyrim Day. I don't know if anybody has ever played Skyrim, greatest game ever created. But it came out 9 years ago. So it's a very special day if you're a video game guy. But yeah, man, I'm excited. We're back on the podcast.
Yes, we are.
Back to the beginning is where we're going this week.
Absolutely. Can you believe we're 10 weeks in?
It's pretty crazy. I remember in the beginning of August, we were like, is this going to happen?
Yeah.
You know, with COVID and all that. And I think it was decided that hand-to-hand combat would be the decision if it came to that cancellation. I don't think we're going to get there, Dan. So no blood will be spilled.
Wow. That just means Big Cat's lucky. But anyways, you are currently in fourth place.
Yes.
You're one of the 5 and 4 teams, of which there are 3. Interesting stat about your team is that you're also one of the only 2 teams over 1,000 points scored for you. 5 teams behind you all have 1 less win. So what's your confidence level in terms of you making the playoffs? And second question after that, which 4 and 5 team do you think has the best shot of making the playoffs?
Yeah, Dan, I'm very confident. I really do think I have one of the better teams this year. I think, in my mind, there are 5 teams that are really good.
All right.
If I was to put money on it, I would throw $20 on these 5 teams.
Go ahead.
Justin's Assemble and my Homelander. They're 1 and 2 right now. Myself. Gronk loves 2 Girls, 1 Cup. And Won't Let You Down, Miss Jackson. Those 5 are currently the 5 of the top 6.
Okay. All right. Let's call it confidence, not cockiness. Why do you think your team's the better one?
Well, I think my team is not the best of those 5. But I do feel confident in the ability for my, let's just call them my shitty players, to get random touchdowns when I need it. I'm looking at you, Marvin Jones, and I'm looking at you, Mr. Devin Singletary. I think if those guys can show up for me, then somebody's going to have a bad day in the playoffs. And that's kind of what I'm thinking on. I'm not going to lie.
All right, so you're confident in your depth is kind of what I'm hearing.
Yes.
And we'll certainly jump to the actual team itself, obviously much later on in the podcast. Interesting perspective of the 4 and 5 teams, of which there are 5. So that ranges from 7 to 11. These are a bunch of teams that are not currently in the playoff picture. Of those teams, which include Big Waller Brand, Maurice and Fleece, Vaccinated from Losing, Drop Jet Gorgeous, and Big Dick Brady, which one of those teams, if any, do you think would make the playoffs?
Maurice and a Fleece. If I had to go gun to my head, that would be the one.
Okay. Any specific reason why, or you taking a flyer here?
No, I really like the fact that Mike Evans is going to step up in the second half of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's been rumors that he's no longer healthy and this and that, and it was a terrible game, right, against New Orleans.
Wasn't good.
But I really think acquiring Tannehill was an excellent move. Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Kareem Hunt, I can only see them going up. I don't see them going down, or at least they're going to stay where they are. So I think this team, Maurice and Fleece, has a very strong floor.
Okay,
one of the strongest floors in the whole league. So I really do like what they're doing there.
Okay, that should worry the commish as they match up this week. But again, we'll get there. Commish a pretty big favorite right now in that matchup. But like I said, we'll kind of get there. This is week 10, and so we have 4 games left. As always, it's close, for the records. We're not going to run through a lot of the records, but While Justin has not clinched yet, he pretty much has. It would be, I mean, to have 8 wins and not get in our league is pretty much unheard of. So I'm going to kind of give that one to him. I assume you may as well.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Also, interesting that he's going to matter. I mean, the guys that play him are competing. Even you, you're competing as well. So you'll be playing Justin. So
well, I mean, I think that's why it's nice that we put so much emphasis. I mean, there's a buy that you can get. So fuck the money, but sometimes it's about pride, sometimes it's not. But Justin's pretty strong, and we're going to get to Justin's team in a second. With some stats, but public service announcement. I'm not telling you guys anything you don't know. Trade deadline is November 21st. That is 10 days away, about a week and a half. Some trades popped off. Again, we'll touch on that as well. A lot of the draft picks and whatnot. But I got to talk about this, Barry, and we've talked about it. You and I used to do this quite a bit. You know about the record book function,
yes. Oh
right?
My God, yeah. Love the record book.
If you guys haven't checked this out, I encourage you to do so. Now, I obviously found it probably earlier than most, just because I needed content for the podcast. But if you go to the league and one of the subtopics there on the top is the record book, it's got a bunch of nonsense, bunch of cool shit and whatnot. But I'm going to throw a couple stats at you here to kind of make this a little interesting. And this is where we come to Justin's team. So Justin at 8-1, he's got a chance here to tie the all-time regular season win total. And Barry, do you know who set that win total?
Oh, I remember Jed having a really good team.
Yeah. So Jed in 2018 went 12-1. That was his team so good at Ertz, and I'm pretty sure he won the league that year. So that was 2018. Which makes the next stat even funnier. So, Justin's got a chance to tie the all-time regular season win total. At the same time, Steve, which is Jake from State Farm, has a chance to tie the all-time regular season loss total of 11, also set by Jed. In 2019, Turn Your Head and Goff had 11 losses. He went 2-11 the year after going 12-1, which I found hilarious.
That's funny. That is funny how, the dichotomy of what you can and can't achieve. That's pretty good. Now, Dan, tell people how they can access the record book if they don't know.
Sure. So because
it took me a while when you mentioned it. Boom. Oh yeah, but where is it?
Yep. So you go to the league page. So you'll see up top you have the black bar there. Maybe it's different depending on your color, but it's usually right below the ad that you'll see. And if you go to the league, my team, matchups, players, I'm just reading from left to right. Below that, you have a subheading, which is what I call it. And if you go almost probably about 66%, 2/3 of the way to the right of the screen, you see record book. It's smack dab in between trading block and dues, which are some things that people don't really hit on. But if you hit record book, it's got everything. And I don't know how far back it goes, but it's whenever Marvin was basically you renew the league. I see a lot of records dating back to 2014, so that might be it. I know the league did, it was around before then, but that's how you access it, if that made sense.
Yeah, no, that did make sense. And I'm looking, some of these names are really funny.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Ladies and Gentlemen.
Oh, yeah.
Bacon is my spirit animal.
Oh, that was you.
Oh, that was me. I was like, oh, wow, I really like that.
See, I've looked at this a lot, so I kind of recognize some teams.
Ruxin's Revenge, yeah.
But we actually have some potential for some records to be broken this year. I've been keeping my eye on certain records, which I find the coolest.
Yeah. Somebody's name was Butt Fart McPoopus.
I don't know whose that was.
I don't know either.
But somebody's got to talk. This record book has head-to-head matchups, team points, team stats. Also has league medals, which isn't really that cool. But Barry, I found something today, and this next thing is for Tom. My Homelander for Prez is currently set to make some records. So currently, he has a margin of defeat, the smallest margin of defeat on average, of only 6 points. So for those that didn't understand that, it means that every single one of his matchups is extremely close. He's only losing by an average of 6 points when he loses. The record all time is actually from 2018, Gordo's Rehab Island. I think that was Mace, who lost by a smallest margin of defeat of 12 points. So Tom's team is putting that in half, Barry.
Hey, I mean, that's how you got to win. You win at the margins, right? You win at the tiny little in real football and in fantasy. So
that's right.
It looks like
But here's the thing. Here's what makes that record even crazier. And this is all in the record book. But if you go to strength of schedule for the easiest strength of schedule all time from 2014 as a bye, he faced a team that would average 71 points. Weekly right now in our league, Tom has the easiest strength of schedule, facing teams of only 87 points, which makes his margin of defeat also very interesting, which means he's not scoring a lot of points either. So, Tom, I didn't mean to throw a lot of shade on you, but that's science and math. And at 6-3, it becomes interesting considering if you look at points against, he has the smallest by close to 150 points scored against him.
Yeah, and I think the next few weeks are really going to, everything evens out at the end. And I was looking at, Tom's schedule, and he plays Justin, he plays my team, and he plays, I think, Mason as well. So he's got some juggernauts he's going to have to deal with.
Again, that confidence is turning into cockiness, but we'll get there, Barry. We'll get there.
No, I didn't mean my team. So maybe Mason and Justin and the team.
Well, anyways, that record book is actually pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see. Obviously the changes to that record book by year. Obviously, we've changed some rules and added some positions and stuff. So some of the points is different, but I always thought that the wins was pretty cool. We usually talk here, Barry, about trivia, but we're skipping trivia. We're Xing it out. We got some trades. Start this off for us.
Yeah, man, we got actually, let's go to what just happened. I don't know if you just saw this or not, but we had a commissioner veto a trade because there was a player that was the second-round pick, Todd Gurley.
Okay, I did see that. Trade. Yes, I did see that. Okay, I didn't see it. There's no actual notification.
I think people will see that by the time this happens. I was very concerned about that trade in general, but I'm glad it's off the board. So the next thing we're going to here, and Mikhail and Blaze have been busy, man. So why don't we go to the Keenan Allen trade? Because
Sorry about that, guys. A little technical difficulty there, but a little 5-second drop off. But we're back. Barry, you were saying we're going to the Keenan Allen trade?
Yes.
Okay, and that trade would be between which teams?
Justin's a symbol and real Molstuds. We got Keenan Allen in an 11th rounder for Justin Jefferson and a 6th rounder. So, Dan, what do you think?
I mean, I think that, I got to look, and this kills me. It absolutely kills me to talk about Justin Jefferson because your boy drafted him. I drafted him. And I think I drafted him in the 13th or the 14th round. And week 1, he had 2.3 points. Week 2, he had 3.7. And then he fucking exploded for 23 points. But based on my team, I just couldn't keep him. So I actually dropped him. So he's like a 13th or 14th round pick. So the fact that he's being traded and a 6th round pick is also being traded, Ariel Mostert's Blaze takes this one for me.
Well, yeah, it's even funnier because I think Blaze dropped him the day before or the day on that he scored 23 points, and now he's trading back for him.
No shit.
At least the way that I'm looking at it.
I mean, Keenan Allen's killing it.
No, exactly. And, Keenan Allen was my guy. I traded him away. Keenan Allen is the perfect guy to trade because he's so good, but you're like, oh, is he going to disappoint me? But this makes Justin's team really, really scary. So, I mean, Justin, go for it. I don't blame him. I would too. So I understand that, Blaze is probably getting the better of the deal, but if Justin wins a championship with Keenan Allen,
it's worth it
because of Keenan Allen, right?
Yep.
This is a perfect trade. I love it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I think that works for both teams. It surprised me a little bit only because didn't Blaze have the number one pick? Like, I'm a little surprised and maybe he's not giving up. Maybe he's not. It surprised me a little bit that he would be one of the teams right now to be trading some picks. I get it that he's 3-6, not a lot of points for, so maybe he's kind of called it. I kind of get it, but he's had a real string of bad luck.
He has.
Also,
if I were him, I would not call it. But it leads us kind of to the next trade because we're seeing that Blaze has also sent another trade. And I don't want to move too fast.
No, we're good. Let's do it.
But he has sent another trade for a draft pick, which means he's done.
Yes.
You only have 2 trades with draft picks. So he has improved his next year's team as much as possible with draft picks. So it's interesting because I thought if he kind of held off maybe a little bit, he could have either seen his team rise a little bit or get more value, because in his second trade here, and let's just go to it, he's trading a 9th rounder for Brandon Cooks, with Brandon Cooks and Mr. Terrible Jonathan Taylor, for Jonnu. I'm also a disappointment Smith, and Michael, I plan a terrible offense Gallup, for a 5th rounder.
Yeah, this means that Blaze will have 2 5th rounds and 2 6th rounds next year, with a very likelihood of getting a draft pick from 10 to 14. So just based on potential for record. Jonathan Taylor's, he's only been a disappointment this year based on volume. But he was supposed to be a stud, and he just wasn't. And he's good when he's on the field. Fumbles a little too much for my liking. This trade doesn't move the meter too much for me. What it does is solidifies Mikhail's, terrible people, so to speak. No one's as bad on his team as before. Brandon Cooks is hot and cold, but I like the trade for him. I think it was great. I think only giving up a 5th rounder there, he gets a 9th rounder, he got some value. So I think actually Mikhail wins this trade, but I understand why Blaze did it.
Yeah, Mr. Cooks being tossed around like the $5 hooker is the 3rd time he's been traded this year.
It is. So guys,
he's a fun guy to trade too, because it's like, oh, he could score me 20 points. Or you're like, I got to get rid of this guy because he just scored me 20 points.
Yep. Yeah, currently, 37 catches, 510 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Really, only 3 good weeks out of I'll say 8 because he had his bye. So, but hey, good on that one. As a reminder, guys, Marvin sent it out. Can't trade 1st and 2nd round picks, and obviously, as we move forward, if you want to push a trade through, I think that it should be, if it's agreed upon, it should just fucking happen. There's a lot going on earlier with your Barry, lack of grammar, and also Drew's inability to spell the word grammar. But talk to the commish if you need something. Like I said, Marv's going to have his phone charged, hopefully, quite a bit, and getting some text. I know he's one of the guys to wake up at 3 a.m. for waivers anyways.
Yeah, get them in. We only have one more waiver period. Things are going to heat up.
Yep.
Definitely this weekend. And a week from now, it's going to be on.
It is. It is. Quick Survivor update. Again, the 4 of you motherfuckers advanced. 2 of y'all took New England. 2 of you guys took Chicago. That's Justin, Tom, Marvin, and Drew. We spend 30 seconds on this every week. Barry, who do you think wins?
You know what? I'm pulling for Tom.
Oh,
Tom, I'm pulling for you, man. I remember that one time when he just didn't. He kept not getting past like the third or fourth week. Was that Tom? Man, I hope Tom wins this. It's just fate. I think fate has tapped him.
All right. All right. I'm going to withhold judgment, but I think it would be pretty cool if everybody threw like $5 if there's only 2 of them left. Anyways, moving on. Barry, this is your time, brother. Talk about anything you want. As I always say, the games you saw, the stats you see, betting lines, the group chat. Anything you want to see in the league that changes? This is your time.
Yeah, I know. And, I was supposed to think about this, and I didn't do a great job of actually thinking about it. But, I think we've come to, like, a really good point in our league where I think we've changed a little bit every year, and it feels so good this year. Like, I feel like we haven't had too much nonsense. And I think that's either because we're all veteran players. But so I think the league is good. The chat is great. Probably would like to see more side bets, but I know life gets busy. But Dan, I wanted to talk about my graveyard idea that you mentioned a few weeks ago. Can I go into that?
Yes, this is great. And let me set the scene. So it's kind of an opposite of Survivor, where from what I glean is that you choose the loser, but that's the baseline I'll give. Take as much time as you need.
Yeah, so it's Survivor football, and with Survivor, you pick, people know this, but I'll say it anyways, you want to pick a team that wins, and once you pick that team, you can no longer pick them. So if you wanted Buffalo to win against the Jets in week 1 this year, great, you moved on, but you can no longer pick Buffalo. I want to switch it on its head, and I want to pick losers. So, for example, you would pick the Jets to lose in that first week, and you can no longer pick a losing team. And I think it's more interesting, or it's kind of the same thing, but just a different twist. Because, with this year, and I remember the year with the Lions, you could just pick against the Lions and went 0-16.
Right.
But other than the Patriots going, 16-0, and then losing to the Giants, it's even hard to pick Kansas City. I mean, Kansas City will lose 2 or 3 times this year. Even Tampa is going to lose. Seattle will lose 3 or 4 games. So it's harder to choose losers, in my opinion, once you get past 5 or 6 weeks. So I really like that. And the graveyard idea is just because you're picking dead teams. I don't know. It just came to my head. We can always change the name. But I'm excited about it.
I like it. And I think they're actually, I know you said, for 14 people, it's really, we can barely get over 7 sometimes for Survivor, which kind of shocks me, considering it's only $20, you little bitches. But I actually think that I have found a place where this can be done electronically. I'll get back to you on that because I tried to look into it. It's that Run Your Pool thing that we did a couple years ago for the NCAA. I'll look into that a little bit more if people have some interest in it. I do Survivor and I would do Graveyard. But I think it's a fresh take. It's an interesting thing. So, I like it. I like it quite a bit.
Yeah, and certainly if we can't do it electronically, I'm more than happy to set up an Excel sheet and, do, and it's done.
Yeah, so, people got to give it to you by, noon on Sunday, and you can't pick the Thursday game.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And, everybody knows 1 or 2 other people that know 1 or 2 other people that watch football, right?
Fair point.
So I think this could be a fun thing to kind of expand, and I really haven't seen it on a large platform like CBS, like Yahoo, like ESPN. So until that happens, let's try and make this organic.
I like it. I like it quite a bit, especially because you use the word organic for Graveyard. But anyways, for a potential favorite crazy memory of fantasy football, again, after the topic, I always give you an option if you want to throw a crazy memory out there. If you don't have one, we'll jump to matchups. But anything that you've found that kind of you always remember?
Yeah, just very quickly. The only finals I made was back in 2014, and I had Andrew Luck, who had been averaging like 26 fantasy points per game. In week 16, he comes out and puts up like -0.8 or something like that, or +0.8, and they pull him after halftime. And ended up losing by like 10 points. And like every single quarterback on the waiver wire would have won me the championship that year. But I was like, nah, I got Andrew Luck. I got this. So the tropical polar berries came in second. So, and listen, I lost to a very good team that year. I think it was LJ, whose name Ray's elevator pitch. I looked it up.
Okay.
Awesome name. Ray Rice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always remember the losses, but that was like a really special year, and I was like, I got this. And then no, I did not have that.
Ugh. Well, it's you always forget the losses sometimes more than you forget the wins. So I totally get that. But is that the closest you got to the chip?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I finished third. I finished fourth. Finished 13th. never a bride, Dan.
Always a bridesmaid. I get you. All right. Well, without, I guess, further ado, we can jump into some of these matchups. And the first one is Won't Let You Down, Miss Jackson Mason, taking on T-Mac, Gronk, Love, 2 girls, 1 cup. Barry, I'll let you start first, but currently T-Mac is a 14-point favorite, 118 points potentially for T-Mac, but start where you need to.
Yeah, no, let's start with T-Mac. I mean, this is a very critical matchup for both teams. So, I think what we're looking at is, Deshaun Watson. He's scored over 20 points the last 4 weeks, 19 the week before that. So he's pretty solid. And he's going to need him to be more than 20 points, though, to really have a good outcome here. Of course, we can't not talk about Dalvin Cook.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, my goodness. So it's, but the thing here too is with T-Mac, he's a lot like my team. He's got these scrubs that are like, I don't know, he's going to score a touchdown. If he does, I'll win. And Jerry Jeudy is one of those, and Gronk is one of those. So he's got a very interesting team here. What do you think about Mr. Gronk loves 2 girls, 1 cup?
Dalvin Cook, I think, has scored, close to 80 points combined in the last 2 weeks. He's fantastic. My concern here is in the flex. To me, Judy's coming for a lot here, almost 9 points against Vegas. I actually like that defense more than most. This team can go hot and cold. I mean, that's why he's got a lot of points potential, but there could be some doom and gloom. I mean, if Dalvin Cook doesn't score a shitload of points, where is this team? I mean, like, who else is the stud? I understand he's got the Jacksonville running back there, James Robinson, but I'm a tiny bit more confident in T-Mac's team. I mean, I like his team versus Mason's. And, a few of those reasons are his wide receivers. I mean, he's got Antonio Brown, who's in name only good. Christian Kirk hasn't been fantastic. Juju was great the first week and had one other good week. The fact that he's starting a New York Giants running back, I mean, let's move on. His flexes suck. He had a kind of a rough week last week against me, and when I beat him because Lamar didn't play well. And so, I think I know who I'm going to pick here. I just think T-Mac's team is just a bit more solid in terms of just a bunch of lower ceilings, higher floors. So, T-Mac's my pick.
Yeah, me too. And, I think we're at the end of the year, but based on draft position, Juju Smith-Schuster must be the bust of the year, man.
Oh, he's up there.
Right.
Non-injury aside, he's up there.
Right. And, I just think just not enough from Mason this week. I think that's just what it comes down to. Just not enough.
You worried about Mason's team as much as I am?
Gosh, the more I look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mace. Moving on.
Make some trades. No, you got 10 days. Make some trades.
Moving on. We got CD's nuts. LJ taking on Real Mostert. It's a couple of 3-6 teams. Plays right now, currently a 2-point underdog.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll start with his team. We talked about Keenan Allen here, and this is a little bit of a difficult thing for us to look at, especially with a lot of the trades. So, again, forgive some of the analysis, but Malcolm Brown is in there still for the Rams. Jonathan Taylor, I think, is being shipped. I'm trying to see who he would put in, but again, I'm not loving what I see here from this team. Unless, the reason is, again, obviously, where Blaze is because of Christian McCaffrey. And it sucks, man. It fucking sucks. It happened to me last year. I took Saquon number 1, and he played 6 out of the 13 weeks. When he played, he was fucking amazing. But you had the same thing this year, and the guy got hurt, and your team suffered. And so I've rowed your boat before, so I feel bad for you because you didn't make a bad decision. You just got bad luck. And don't forget right now, Barry, this is a 2-point spread, but that's just because LJ currently his kicker's on bye, so he'll rectify that. But Drew Lock or Jared Goff for LJ?
Oh no, I put Burrow in there. He's going to be slinging it.
Oh, I didn't even see Burrow on the squad. Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no, you got to put Burrow in.
Even against the Steelers defense, I think so. Although,
he's going to get crushed. He's probably going to have
I disagree,
2
actually.
interceptions, but I bet he's going to score more points.
I don't know. The Seattle defense made Jared or Josh Allen, look like fucking Joe Montana last week. So I'd go with Jared Goff personally.
No, and you're right, Dan. I mean, this is a critical matchup too for both these teams. I think the loser, your season's over. I really do. You can't make the playoffs. In my opinion, you would have to run the table, and even then, you would be, struggling to get in. So I think loser really has to think about next year, and the winner, which I think will be, Mr. CD's nuts. I think the season is kind of just starting for him. There's a lot of potential here for LJ. Yeah,
especially with 947 points currently scored for him. I think if he wins, he still has a shot, but Blaze only
on the table. I think he could run the table.
He could.
And be 7-6.
He could. Real Mostert's Blaze's team only has 866 total points scored. He is probably not making the playoffs. I'm taking LJ.
Me too.
Next matchup: Justin's Assemble versus Yahtzee. 8-1 versus 6-3. Barry, I'd call this a rivalry of the week, but there's a reason you're on the podcast this week, so we ain't calling that one. Why don't you start this one?
Yeah, no, definitely. We got to start with Justin. Number 1 team here, possibly sliding in Keenan Allen for this matchup, which, would make him a devastating favorite here. Picked up Tua. I don't know why. I mean, I guess he's trading away Mr. Jefferson. So it's kind of interesting how he's taking and leaving here. But I really like this team, man. I think they're going to get the W. And it's probably not going to be by a lot because, Big Cat's got a good team too.
Yeah, I think the thing about Justin's team, specifically this week, for whatever reason, every single one of his teams is playing a very high-scoring matchup. And I looked at it. Most of the over-unders for this week are between 48 and 52 points over-under. There's one above that at 54. There's one below that at 44. The 44 is that Baltimore game. But all of these players are high point scorers. And, yeah, Justin's team is looking quite solid. Look, when you put Godwin in your flex, you're doing okay. DK Metcalf may be one of the top 5 receivers in the league, but here's the thing. Let's switch over to the other side because he's playing Tyler Lockett too. Big Cat's got him. This is a very big wide receiver kind of a matchup. Derrick Henry notwithstanding. It's just Big Cat doesn't have enough in the flex to match. And he's going to need some kind of a big day from one of these guys that you just don't expect. For example, if the Green Bay defense scores 25 points, Big Cat will take this. or if Teddy Two Gloves does well against Tampa Bay, great. But there's always a possibility that Davante Adams gets a goose egg. And on the other side, I just don't see it happening.
No, certainly. And, I'm very disappointed that Derrick Henry hasn't been labeled the juggernaut from, the X-Men comic books. I mean, so I'm going to read you the description of the juggernaut.
Go ahead.
He possesses superhuman strength and durability and is virtually immune to most physical attacks. His helmet protects him from mental attacks. Although not a mutant, the Juggernaut is a prominent member of the Brotherhood of Mutants. Yeah, that sounds like Derrick Henry.
Sounds like Derrick Henry. Also sounds like a guy that I can't talk about. Remember, how much shit I put on him, and I was fucking proven wrong, which I will always bow down to my mistakes. But yeah, it's I don't think it's looking good for Big Cat this week, unless he gets some big defensive things. But again, he's got some guys coming in, so let's not forget that. There is a trade that will have some guys coming in. So, Big Cat, I know you'll listen to this, so excuse the analysis for the fact that we don't know where you're going to put your guys. I'm taking Justin.
You know what? I'm going to go upset here. I like Darnell Mooney to go off this week.
Wow. Put him in your DFS lineups, boys. Okay.
Yeah, super cheap, man.
Okay. All right. Next matchup, the commish, Big Waller Brand, Marvin, at 113 points. Playing Maurice and Fleece. Willie and Frederick. Both these teams are 4 and 5. Currently Marv at 7th. And Maurice and Fleece, Willie and Fred at 8. Big spread here. Big spread. It's 18 points in Marvin's favor. If you don't mind, I will start with Marvin Barry because the Joe Mixon's back. And the fact that Marvin's been able to survive this long is pretty impressive. And I know that Marvin loves when I analyze his team because apparently it's some kind of a voodoo trick. But Aaron Jones is there. Aaron Rodgers is there. Jacksonville is on the other side. It's going to be a bloodbath. Love DeAndre Swift this week, despite the fact that Washington's front is pretty fucking special. They're going to even be better next year, but I like Swift pretty well in this game. I think they're going to be down and thrown a lot, at least first, second quarters to avoid Chase Young and company. The wide receivers are suspect, which is where Marvin's team has been lacking. So yes, suspect. I don't love it, but I still like the squad he puts out. If Darren Waller doesn't play well, Marvin doesn't win. I think it pretty much comes down to that. Is that fair? Is that too basic? What you got here, especially for Maurice and Fleece?
Yeah, no. I mean, Claypool, who I really like.
Notre Dame.
I know. He's hit or miss, though. And it's going to be interesting. Is Pittsburgh going to even need to throw the ball? And we'll get to that in our last matchup. But, it will also be very important to see, Nick Chubb. I'm not sure, Dan. Are they bringing Nick Chubb back this week? Because that is a huge thing for Green Hunt. I know that the Browns have a bye. Or excuse me, they already had their bye, so it makes sense that they would bring Chubb back this week, which would be a huge blow to Willie and Freddie. So I like Marvin this week.
Yeah, the Chubb thing to me, and again, maybe other people have seen different things. That's game time decision.
It is okay.
That's what I'm seeing right now, and that's what I heard earlier. So I don't take me on that, but we're going to potentially disagree because, I like the fact that Jamal Williams steals some points from Marvin. I'm taking Maurice and Fleece to go 5-5. Huge upset.
Wow, Jamal Williams. Okay. Yeah, he's on the roster. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Next matchup, we have Jake from State Farm. 2-7. Not Steve's best year. Appreciate you taking over the team. Currently a 4-point underdog to my homelander for Brez. Tom, why don't you start this one off, Bear?
Yes, absolutely. And, let's go to Tom. He's favored right now. Looking, it's about 4 or 5 points. And, Tom is going to be running out a trio of very interesting running backs. You got McKinnon, you got Mr. McKissick, and you got Murray. And that's what I'm looking at now. So, I mean, all those guys are they the guy? I mean, not really, right? So, what can he get from his running backs? I mean, that's going to be very key this week. I think that's where this matchup goes. Carson Wentz. Listen, the Giants' defense is not that bad. So
that second-round pick out of Alabama that plays corner is something special. I'll tell you what.
Dude, I would try and find a different quarterback this week because Wentz has been he's been waking up with poopy in his butt every single game. And I know that the fantasy points are there, but that's because the attempts are there. They're not going to necessarily be down to the Giants. It's probably going to be like a 17-10 game. So I would find a different quarterback if I were Tom. But if you go to the other side,
just to stop you there, Barry.
Sure.
Actually, it was just updated. That's actually the lowest over-under of the week. 44 and a half points over-under Giants-Eagles.
I'd go under. I'd even go under 44.
Wow, you hear that, squad? Maybe Barry wants to make a bet.
Yeah, I mean, and it also sucks, too, for Tom because, I know Justin Jackson was like, this is my gold. I found, but now it's just, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's going to be working out.
Well, I actually don't even think this is much of a matchup. While Ezekiel Elliott is supposed to be the guy, he was great the first 5 weeks, and then he has looked pedestrian. That probably has to do with a lot the fact that Dak is down, but also the Cowboys are on a bye this week. There's not much to evaluate here, guys. There's a reason Steve's team's 2-7. I have a hard time identifying his best player.
I know his best player.
Who is it? Kittle. Well, that's the problem. Yeah, this team has been ravaged.
No, I think A.J. Brown is absolutely his best player.
I guess. I mean, that's the issue. I mean, again, Tom, I'm not trying to shit on you. I didn't mean to shit on you earlier with those stats, but math and science don't disagree. You're playing all the teams that you should play, but enjoy making the playoffs. But Jesus Christ, I'd love to play you the first round. So,
shots fired.
I'm taking Tom.
I know, and this is also a very important game for Steve. This is a get me out of the running for.
He's in the running. He's got the pole position for the Sacco.
No, I know. I'm just trying to stay positive. I like Steve.
I do too. Don't forget the fact, though, that I'll give this to Tom, too. His best player is on bye, Mahomes. So this team is obviously a lot better with Mahomes, but he's been covering for a lot of those losses. So, anyways, Tom, congratulations, 7-3. Moving on. Drop Jed Gorgeous versus Big Dick Brady. Again, for like the 5th fucking consecutive week. Someone explain that goddamn name to me. Big Dick Brady. Do you know that he has a big dick? Have you seen it? Do you want it? I don't know. I need answers, Drew. I need answers. Both teams are 4-5. Jed in 10th and Drew in 11th. Big swing here for Jed. Shit, is that a 27-point favorite for Jed, Barry?
Yeah, man.
This is going to be a fucking blowout. Oh, Mike Davis is playing. That's why. Oh, this thing's over.
Oh, he's calling it.
This thing is over.
Well, the bye monster.
I didn't get a chance to look at this matchup before we looked at it, but I guess even if Nick Chubb doesn't play, my God, this thing is over.
Yeah, and you're looking at Julio, Matt Ryan, Kelsey on bye. It's just tough. It's hard to win with those weeks. But you know what? Maybe you get all your guys on a bye and you just hope for a win. I don't know, but I would go with Jed here. I really would.
Guys, I'm sorry that there's not much analysis here, but if you guys look at this matchup, Jesus Christ. I mean, if Drew Brees throws 5 touchdowns, I think Drew loses.
Yeah, like I said before, I really think, I like the fact that, Chubb has a possibility to come back. If so, and if he really lives up to his, late second round, early second round value, I mean, Jed's a contender, man.
He is.
So it's going to be really, he's got You gotta drop you though. Young Ho Koo, excuse me, Koo. Great. I mean, he's great, but drop his ass.
All right, I'm going with Joe there.
Me too.
Last matchup of the week, Barry. It brings us to the rivalry matchup of the week. It's me and you, man. I mean, you're in fourth right now at 5-4. I'm in ninth at 4-5. I think you're currently a 5-point favorite. Shit, man. I guess you're the guest now. So how about you? How about you start us off? Pick your spot.
I was so confident like 1 week ago about this. I was like, I'm gonna crush him. And then, Mr. Johnson, gets a concussion. And then everybody else pretty much is like, no, I don't really want to be projected a lot because, I'm bored. And then, I traded for Pittsburgh. I was really excited because I could play them against you, and I think they're going to do really well. I think they could put up like a 20 spot on you. But I'm going to need Connor to come in big. I'm going to need Russell Wilson to be his MVP self, like a 30-pointer. Because like I said before, my team's good, but it really does rely on the weirdos like Corey Davis, the weirdos like Marvin Jones. And, I hope that Ayuk doesn't have COVID, but I don't even know. So I don't even know if I'm going to be putting him in. But I do feel confident this week, Dan, mostly because you're no longer starting DJ Dallas. Thank God I didn't run to the bat.
Well, that is to be determined because Chris Carson is currently going to probably run you over. You're not afraid of Chris Carson?
No.
Wow. Oh, you think DJ Dallas is going to get the start?
No, I think everybody's going to get a little bit of pie, and nobody's going to be happy.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I vehemently disagree, but
I will let you know I will be throwing my TV out the window if Jalen Reagor scores a touchdown.
You know he's going to.
I know. That's why I'm already upset about it.
Yeah, that's happening. I'm
already very upset.
That's happening. Here's the thing, too. Again, with Chris Carson potentially playing too, I got your Russell Wilson points right there. That's where I think your potential kryptonite is, but also Gibson. Antonio Gibson is the guy that I rely on this week to get the W. Yeah. I have received 5 trades for him in the last 3 days.
Ooh, interesting.
So I think that if James Conner does not play well, and if Corey Davis stops acting like he's actually a good wide receiver, if Mr. Johnson there from the Texans doesn't play, I got a real shot here. I think this is going to be closer than you think. I wouldn't say that I'm confident. Again, I thought I was going to lose last week to Mason, and I'm more confident in beating you this week without Tyreek Hill than I was last week when I beat Mason. So, shaka. I'm gonna pick myself, and Boss Jacob's gonna take me to town here.
And Dan, this is huge for both of us.
It is.
Because if I win, I am like pretty much playoff team, right? If you lose, you're probably thinking about selling.
It's a possibility.
But if you win, you're like, no, I might be buying. So, like, this is very important. And if I lose, I'm also like, wait, I thought my team was better. Now I'm going to overpay possibly because I think I got, it's very interesting because I know we're both very active, or at least we're trying to be active on the trade market. So it's going to be very important. Listen, I think I'm going to win. I think James Conner is going to be leaned on heavily. And I think that and I said this, I forget who I texted this. Maybe it was Big Cat. He's my ticket. He's my ticket to the ship. So he's going to take me to the playoffs, Mr. Connor.
Well, we'll see. I mean, the only team, or player, however you want to put it, that doesn't play Sunday is my defense for Minnesota as of right now. Not sure if I'll keep it. But we might know Sunday night who wins.
Yeah, hopefully. So. Or I'm leaning on Mr. Foles. Russia. And you know how that can go.
Yeah. So, all right, man. Well, hey, Appreciate you coming by. Appreciate you doing the pod. Guys, as always, make sure that you know Marvin, or let Marvin know about any trades that you have coming, especially if you need to get them in, if it's a Tuesday, Wednesday kind of a thing or whatnot. But, yeah, we're signing off, man.
Dan, can I just say one thing about trades?
Get it.
Vetoing a trade because you play that team the next week is the worst reason to veto a trade.
Agreed.
That's all I'm going to say.
That's agreed. I mean, we've all played long enough to know that, don't play that game. If you even try to put that argument out there, you're gonna put a different argument out there because no one's gonna like you.
Well, Dan, thank you for having me, man. This is awesome that you do this.
Always, man. Always. Hey, not good luck to you.
And I hope Jalen Reagor sucks a dick.
Wow, he might suck a dick and score a touchdown.
Well, he's on Philly.
Peace out, guys.